Bring in Democratic strategist Kevin Walling and member of the Trump Campaign Advisory Board, Madison Gesiotto. Welcome.
Mike, good evening.
Good to be with you.
It is clear Joe Biden wanted to show Democratic primary voters he's up to taking the fight to President Trump. Please take a listen, and I will ask you to respond.
He's the bully that I've always stood up to. He's the bully I used to make fun when I was a kid in a stutter, and I smacked him in the mouth.
Did it work, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I love when Joe Biden is fighting the good fight. And I think he had a really effective interview tonight with Chris Cuomo over on another network where he let his passion show and he pushed back where he had to on the president's abuses over the last 2.5 years. But again, when Joe Biden is on that stump and he's fighting hard, rallying troops to his side, that's how he's going to win this primary.
Another point Biden wanted to make is a more moderate Democrat like him is more electable. You're in battleground Ohio, Madison. Is he right?
No, he absolutely is right. I mean, you look at the Democratic Party right now, and they're going farther and farther left. When you look at a general election, someone who is as far left as a Bernie Sanders or a Kirsten Gillibrand right now are never going to be electable in a state like Ohio, in a state like Wisconsin, in a state like Michigan. And so he does have a valid point there. But at the same time, that doesn't mean he's going to win. Right. Because number one, the primary voters coming out are going to be the farthest left of the Democratic Party. And number two, his policies that he's putting forward are pretty far left right now. I mean, you see in the interview with Chris Cuomo, he talks about not only some type of free health care for illegal immigrants, but giving illegal immigrants Social Security, both of which are very unpopular right now among Democrats and certainly among Republicans. So I think he's going to have a tough time not only winning the primary, I think he may ultimately lose that primary, but if he were to win in next year, he's not going to beat President Trump. I don't think he has a chance.
Biden also seemed to fire a warning shot at the Democratic field today, essentially saying if they want to get nasty, he can dump opposition research dirt on them.
I get all this information about other people's past and what they've done and not done. And, you know, I'm just not going to go there. If we keep doing that, I mean, well, we should be debating what we do from here.
Madison, your thoughts?
Sure, it's politics. I mean, if he wants to dump that opposition research or he chooses not to dump the opposition research, that's his choice. But at the same time, again, we have Kamala Harris, who really did much better than him in the debate. We have other candidates rising the polls. I think Kamala went up 13 points after that. So they're trailing him. And so with or without the research, he may ultimately lose anyways. And I think his threat was very unfounded. People didn't seem to be too scared of it.
Mary, Pete Buttigieg, a Midwestern guy from South Bend, Indiana, suggests it's time for the party to go to the left. Take a listen to this.
I think the way he wins again is if we look like we're the defenders of a system that hasn't worked. And what that means is, surprisingly, the riskiest thing we could do is try so hard to play it safe that we continue to walk down an establishment path that has Americans believing that we're not speaking to them.
Is there a danger of Democrats playing it safe, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely. And I think to Madison's point, I think she makes a very good one. I mean, we want to be competitive everywhere, in Ohio, her home state, in Wisconsin, in Michigan. We can win those states back if we don't tear each other apart in this primary, but focus on what middle-class Americans are looking for in their next president and pointing out where this president has let them down. I think this president has done great harm when it comes to trade policies, attacking farmers in the Midwest, manufacturing jobs when it comes to steel and aluminum. But we need to keep the focus on this president and also making the case what we can do for the American people if they come back to our side.
Let's take a look at the Real Clear Politics average of recent polls, top 5 of the Democrats running. Biden, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and then you see Buttigieg. How do you see the race at this early stage, Madison?
Well, I think the one thing that many people here in Ohio and across this country are concerned about is the fact that every single one of the Democratic candidates you just mentioned are proposing these ideas that would be extremely expensive. We don't believe that we can afford these ideas, and we don't believe that these are the best ideas that are going to positively impact the lives of the American people, specifically the lives of the middle class. And so I think there are a lot of concerns out there about these and the fact that they're just unrealistic. And, you know, what's funny about it is you look back just a few years ago, and many of these would be considered very radical radical policies. So while the Democrats definitely don't want to stagnate, I don't think this is the direction they want to be going in order to create a positive vision for the future of this country.
Kevin, your thoughts?
Yeah, if Republicans found $1.6 trillion to give away to mostly corporate interests and the richest 1%, 5% in this country, we can certainly find some money to shore up Medicare and Medicaid as this president
but
wants
if
to
you look
cut.
at our national debt and our deficits, they're rising, they're growing.
But
We
Madison,
can't afford to let them grow more.
Look at what the number one driver of our debt and deficit this year was, that $1.6 trillion deficit for
But
tax
does it
cuts
matter
for
to you
corporations.
where that's coming from? Do you want to continue to make it grow by implementing things like Medicare for all? That would be $32 trillion.
I want to continue making it grow by strengthening Medicare and Medicaid, focusing on single payer as the vice president wants to do.
So you do want to see the debt and deficits grow?
I'd love to continue the conversation, but we got to leave it there. Kevin Walling,
Thanks,
Madison
Mike.
Gesiotto, thank you so much. Have a beautiful
great weekend, guys.
Thank you.